Okay, so here are some of the guidelines. I've highlighted PRISMA and ROSES because these kind of stand out, and I'll talk about those in just a minute. But PRISMA is kind of the current basis for many systematic reviews right now. It stands for Preferred Reporting Items for Systematic Reviews and Meta-Analyses. And it's in fact what some other guidelines base their guidelines off of, but go into a lot further detail to design the specificity for the conduct and reporting of the systematic review. And so while these are only a selection of the common guidelines followed, on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see something that probably looks a bit familiar to you. It's the PRISMA flowchart, which even if it's not in the official PRISMA format, you'll probably have seen a lot of this kind of figure in systematic reviews. These are almost ubiquitous in terms of having this flow chart. So this is reported, this is the reporting scheme of many of the systematic reviews. ROSES also capitalized there, and clearly not the only one, but is an alternative to PRISMA. And it stands for Reporting Standards for Systematic Evidence Syntheses, and it's been developed for the field of environment. So ROSES will not go into great detail, similarly to PRISMA, but rather present guidelines and seek to be more of a series of checklists, whereas other items listed on this page, like Campbell, like Cochrane, like Institute of Medicine, CEE, those are going to go into much further detail about what to include in steps of the process, what to follow down to a T. And so why you want to pre-register, and Elle kind of covered this a little bit in a little bit of a different lens, but first and foremost, registration of a protocol in advance of conducting a review of your results is best practice for all systematic reviews. Even though the PRISMA guidelines do have a caveat laid out for reporting without a pre-registered protocol, many journals will not accept a systematic review without an a priori protocol or a pre-registered protocol. So some of the journals require formal publishing of the protocol. So it actually becomes a research object that is citable in its own right. And examples of ones that do this are CEE, Cochrane, and Campbell all have that practice. And regardless of whether or not your journal publishes protocols as standalone research, registering will confer a timestamp to your protocol, and most can track changes if you do find that you need to make alterations over the course of your conduct, of your review conduct, due to the content of your reviewed material, for instance. Registering also allows others to find and identify your planned study, and this can lead to collaboration or simply information for others on the ongoing systematic review landscape. And my last point on this page is that registering a protocol will serve as your guide as authors to protect you from potential bias by preparing your plan to conduct the review. And if you stray from that original intent, you'll need to justify why you found it necessary to do so. So in a similar vein, a protocol can also help to rein in potential scope creep. And if you are only really looking for a certain set of studies that meet a certain pre-established criteria, then you can easily say no to studies that fall outside of those certain criteria and stay focused on the current plans for the systematic review, which I personally find very helpful, being a person who is very subject to scope creep.